We're going to a new place today. Are you excited, Uraraka? Oh, yeah, you? Definitely. We're all sitting in the bus, and Katsuki is shouting at Tsu and Uraraka. Seems to be enjoying the trip, to be honest. It's not bad, and Katsuki screaming just makes it more normal. We arrive at the place, and Aizawa told us to quit fooling around, even though we weren't really fooling around. Once we got inside, 13 started explaining the activity we would do today, and I'm standing next to Katsuki. I want to hold his hand. Suddenly, a large black portal opened down on one of the fields. Stay back, those are villain. Aizawa warned. We all froze. What? But why are they here? Aizawa jumped down and started fighting them with such ease. So cool. The black portal appeared in front of us, and I grabbed onto Katsuki's shirt. I was so scared my quirk activated, and I was floating. Katsuki and Kirishima jumped towards him, but I was dragged along. The black mist surrounded us, and suddenly we were in a room with a bunch of villains. One came running towards me, but Katsuki hit him and he passed out. I quickly teleported metal shards through my head, then flung them towards the villains, pinning them to the wall and injuring some. Wow, cool, Kirishima complimented. Another person came sprinting towards me, and I jumped using my quirk to make me go higher, then came straight down on him, knocking him out. Wow, this is kind of fun. Katsuki huffed and hit another guy. You're just realizing that? I ducked from one of his punches to get to the guy behind him and trapped him on the way. We finally beat everyone, and Katsuki was talking to Kirishima. I walked over to them and rested on Kirishima because I knew Bakugou would push me off. It sounds to me like you trust our classmates, Kirishima said, hardening his hand, and I stand up, and my hair flares out. We both gave him determined smiles. We come running towards the scene of All Might caught by a villain with Izuku and some classmates. Katsuki caught the missed guy, and Todoroki froze the guy holding All Might. I was getting Tsu and Mineta out of arms and teleported them a few meters away. I suddenly felt a rough hand wrap itself around my neck. Katsuki! Katsuki wiped his head around, and his eyes widened. Listener! Nah, I wouldn't do that if I were you. All I need to do is touch her with all 5 of my fingers and she'll be dust. My throat went dry. Okay, listener, use your quirk. If I teleport it to Katsuki, I can keep the portal open and he can send a blast, stunning this guy for a few minutes. Then maybe Kirishima or Izuku can run up and hit him. I looked at Katsuki and pointed to his hands, then to my hair. He seemed to have gotten the idea. I then looked at Kirishima and made a fist, then pointed to a guy holding me. He nodded. Okay, now? I teleported to Katsuki and held the gate opened. We made a huge blast with his gauntlet, successful stunning him. Then Kirishima ran up to him and hardened his hand, then hit him really hard. He stumbled back and fell. I immediately hugged Katsuki as tight as I could. Thank you. My eyes trailed to All Might. Get to safety. I have this. All Might said all the way by the wall with his hand up from blocking a punch from the scary brain guy. We all just stood there. All Might started punching him repeatedly and finally threw a punch and knocked him out of the dome. We all stood there admiring All Might. The officer was doing a head count, and I stood next to Katsuki, holding onto his pants between my index and thumb. Once he was done doing the head count, I hugged Katsuki. Thank you for saving me. You're definitely my hero, I said, looking up at him. He placed a hand on my head and smiled down at me. I'm glad you're okay. My eyes started to water and my legs were trembling. The shock and adrenaline finally hit me, and hard. My legs gave in and I fell onto the floor. And I was shaking. Katsuki must have got a fright at my sudden collapse, because he stood back really quick, then looked down at me. Oi, are you okay? I don't think I can walk. Can you carry me to class, please? Geez, you really are a problem. Sorry. He crouched down and told me to jump on his back. I did so, but very shakily. My vision began to blur. It's been a while since you gave me a piggyback ride. Shot it. I hum and rest my head on his back. This is nice. Hey Katsuki, do you like anyone? Huh? What? You nearly died and you're asking me that? My vision suddenly went black and I passed out. My head, I say as I sat up and pressed my palm to my forehead. You used your quirk a bit recklessly. I assume you usually use your quirk to teleport and make small items float, yes? Yeah. Well, using your quirk the way you did without training caused major strain on you, and you passed out. Oh, I see. I'm sorry for the trouble, I say as I get off the bed. Not at all, and that blonde boy is waiting for you outside. Blonde? Oh, thank you. I walk outside the room to find Katsuki sitting on the floor. I crouch down in front of him and poke his cheek. He grabs my hand and I nearly fall over. Ah! Quit screaming. How are you feeling? I'm fine. Only a slight headache. No biggie. But, how did I get here? All I remember is the officer doing a head count and then I hugged you. He stared intensely at me, then stood up. I'll tell you later. I phoned your mom and you're coming home with me. Huh? Why? Because this is partly my fault, so I'm going to make up for it. Oh, okay. The walk home was quiet, but not an uncomfortable quiet. And once we got to his house, he made me some tea and we watched some movies. Mrs. Bakugou made an amazing soup, and Katsuki made me sleep in his bed while he was going to sleep on the couch, but I refused to sleep in the bed if he was going to sleep on the couch. It's his house after all, so we ended up sleeping in the same bed again. Hey, this time I didn't forget to do a I totally forgot what this is called. An outro. So thank you for watching. See ya in what part is this? In part 6, because this is the 5th part, I think. Whatever, it's fine. See you next video. Bye-bye. I don't think I forgot to mention, but this is part 5, I think, of 8 parts. Thank you for watching. Bye. You guys are awesome.